Hello everybody, welcome to this technical analysis video by Aggregated Finance. Today is the 2nd of March 2022. Before getting into it, I should point out that the contents of this video do not constitute neither financial nor investment advice. The analysis presented is for educational purposes only, and Aggregated Finance and myself, trader chart guy Zach, we are not liable for any losses incurred as a result of this video. Any trading that you do is done entirely at your own risk. Okay, so looking at the spot chart of Bitcoin, we called the bottom a few days ago, about a week ago in the previous videos, and price is moving exactly as we anticipated. We've now beautifully cleared above the 50 moving average on the daily chart. Price is doing exactly what we anticipated it would do. It is now consolidating and going sideways, and the 50 MA is starting to turn upwards. So this really should clear the way ahead for us to get up to around the 200 daily moving average, which is hanging out here just under the 50,000 level. So far so good. Let's look at Ethereum. Very similar picture here. We've cleared above the 50 MA and we are consolidating. So the first target will be this level here at this pivot high, and then we could make it up to around the $3,500 level. Moving on to the SPY, which is the ETF that tracks the ETF that tracks the S&P 500. Again, we called the bottom here in our previous videos last week, which are now all uploaded on the YouTube channel, and we are moving sideways. We are consolidating. The market is looking like it wants to go higher. I think we've got a good chance of getting up to the 50 moving average. Why are we looking at the SPY? Remember, a rising tide lifts all boats. Are we in a risk-on environment or are we a risk-off environment? That's what we always want to determine. So far, we are looking like we want to go higher. That does not mean we can't go lower if something crazy happens, or God forbid, someone presses the nuclear button or something really that's unanticipated that unfolds. Then obviously everything's off the table. But so far so good. The equity market is looking like it wants to go higher, and that should also spill over into the cryptos. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. Oftentimes the Nasdaq gives us an indication where cryptos are going. We see a similar case here. Now let me point out oil. I made a call on oil in my last video. That level has clearly not worked, purely because of the geopolitical situation. Albeit, as we said last weekend, when the oil refineries were being interrupted with all of the escalation in violence that's been happening, oil on Monday didn't blast through, but the last 2 days things have gone higher. The one thing in trading, you have to quickly recognize when you are wrong. The last thing you want to do is to hold in a trade, say, no, I'm so convinced I'm correct. You sometimes have to know when to pull the plug and when your plan doesn't work, and that's been the case here. But going back to the crypto market, okay, so looking at Ethereum, we've now moved to the weekly chart and seeing where we are now. Again, the rising yellow line is the 50 MA. We are still in a medium-term uptrend. You can see the 20 MA, the blue line, has turned downwards. That's telling us we are in a short-term downtrend, which we can clearly be recognized here. However, the next hurdle for Ethereum will be for it to get above the rising 50 MA on the weekly chart. Let's check out the weekly chart of Bitcoin. Okay, I would expect a very similar situation. So the 50 MA has started to turn downwards. We really need to see, this is looking ahead a few weeks, are we able to clear above the 50 and 20 MA on Bitcoin? It will be very telling what happens. So we need to take things one day at a time. Thus far, we still see further upside. And so our plan is playing out thus far exactly as we anticipated. However, there will be heavy resistance around this $50,000 level, and then we will simply need to see what chart patterns we get. Do we pull back or do we start turning downwards? It's more difficult to tell what will happen longer term. We can only take it one day at a time, but thus far things are looking good for further upside. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I look forward to catching up with you later on in the week.